What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. The purpose of this video is to discuss where I think the price action will take us in the coming days, the coming weeks, and the very short kind of time frames. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. Okay, so here we are sitting at about 102.2K. Looking at this thing on a weekly basis, if we're looking at the weekly RSI here, we have gotten overbought, gotten out of the overbought zone, and it seems that we found support above the 60, which is really nice. We're in a posture right now that could take us back into the overbought zone. Anytime you get overbought, you find support above the 60 and you get back into the overbought zone, that sets you up for some very bullish conditions, because all that is effectively, if you think about it, right, just for what it is at face value, you're getting overbought. You're not overbought for that long if you don't go below the 60. You get overbought again, that means you're seeing strong readings after strong readings in a consistent short amount of time, which definitely makes for a very bullish environment. I suspect that right now, while we are paused, we are in the midst of a move, a greater move that's going to take us up probably above 140K and somewhere up to about 180K, somewhere in that area. 140 to 180K is kind of my expectation. But as of right now, we're at 102K. 3 days, 17 hours left in this week. Looking a little bit bearish so far. Hit 109K and have pulled back. It's not the best look on a weekly basis. Let's look at the 3-day time frame. The 3-day RSI also kind of pointing to the downside a little bit, suggesting to the downside. We have a day and 17 hours left. We're only down 3%. I don't know. It's possible that this could close green. If over the next day and 17 hours, I'm sorry, we can move up 3.7%, this 3-day RSI would actually look really good, because this little crook here where it's pointed down, it wouldn't actually be pointed down. If it closed green, it would just be pointed up. It'd be a straight line, and that would be nice because you're bouncing off the 50, you're staying above the 60, and you got these higher lows in succession with each other, just showing nice structure on the 3-day time frame as well. So I guess in the next day and 17 hours, the call would be for this thing to close above 103,000. It'd have to close above 103.1K. Let's look at the 4-hour and see if we can make sense out of that, right? Because I'm expecting Bitcoin to kind of drop today. Oh, I remember. I've got a pattern for you guys. We're going to talk about a pattern that I noticed. I mentioned it in the Discord a couple times in the Traders Guild, but we'll go over here. 4-hour RSI, you're at the 40, okay? Kind of a double bottom potential at the 40. I will say the way that it's postured makes me you could go lower, but overall it kind of makes me wonder if you do. Maybe you do find support here and move up higher. I'm kind of curious to see if you do. It's kind of odd posture here in the 1 hour, the 4 hour. The 1 hour is suggesting that you did find a low. You're at a double bottom here, and you would move up rather immediately. So maybe we do. Maybe we have found a low. Here's what I wanted to talk about. Here's what I thought, or the pattern that I noticed earlier. Okay, so if you look at it here, I don't know if anybody knows, but right here, based off of this move here, moving up, we've got a little pattern. This is a diamond top pattern. That's what it's called. You can look up diamond tops if you want to. You can scour the internet. If you'd like, you can use the website that I use. We're going to burn our retinas real quick, okay? And it's thepatternSite.com. You go to chart patterns here. You can go to D. It's alphabetized. Scroll down to D. Diamond bottoms, diamond tops. Thomas Bulkowski is the man that made this website. It's completely free. Everybody has access to it if you have access to the internet. And then he gives you a breakdown, diamond tops, blah, blah, blah. He tells you all this stuff. He tells you the price trend, the shape, the trend lines, the touch, the breakout, the definitions, the measure rule, how to go about it, right? But you can see the diamond pattern, right? The way that it's drawn here. You can see his example here, right? And this is actually common. What happened, you see this diamond, what he draws, and I'm not going to read all this, but I've read it enough to know whenever you pull back, diamond patterns are notorious for breaking out one way and then ripping to the other side and then coming back down, right? They're notorious for volatility, and as you can see by the pattern, it kind of suggests volatility. Let's stop burning our retinas and look back at Bitcoin here. So diamond patterns, and I think this is a diamond pattern here, are notorious for winning out, for promoting high velocity moves, as in very fast moves. So I don't know if we're breaking out to the downside. Personally, I don't know if we are. This diamond pattern can be interpreted in a few different ways. If we draw this line here from the lows, we connect the lows. I don't think we've broken out. You know, if we draw it like this, it's not the most pretty thing, but I'm trying to make it prettier. And here's the thing about diamond patterns too. They're one of the few patterns that do not require the utmost respect. Okay, so you can see there's lines outside of it, but you can get the general diamond on the inside here, right? So what I meant by that last part, what I was saying is that these parts outside of the pattern, if people are like, that invalidates the pattern, that's actually very common in diamond patterns. In fact, it's kind of one of those patterns that you can I don't like using this phrase, but I'm gonna use it. You can kind of cherry pick to make it look how you want it to look because it does get disrespected. And I feel like this way it looks a little bit uglier. If you just look at it without it, it looks more obviously like a diamond pattern. We probably don't even need all of this. We probably just need this line here really to know if we're bouncing or not. But I think having all of this is nice because it does give us a bit of a high price to break. You know, if we get above about 104,000, we're probably breaking out of this to the upside. Now I don't want to scare anybody. We're burning our retinas again. This broke out to the downside at first and then it pulled back up. That's not how it normally happens. It's like 50% of the time, okay? It can do this. They're notorious for this, but it doesn't mean it has to. Okay, it doesn't mean it has to do this. Likely, I would expect a breakout to lead to a breakout move one way or another. But the nice part about this pattern is it's relatively small enough that if you were to break out, it would still be to a higher low. If we were to break out to the downside, even at its worst case in point, it would be at about 92K, 93K, it would still be a higher low. I very much doubt that we would get that price because I think there are too many people chomping at the bit to buy down here. There are too many people who are sopping wet at the thought of Bitcoin going back below 100K. I don't think it's going to go there. But whenever we do break this, that same measure move could be applied, you know, from a low here to that high. That same measure move could be applied, and that would take us up to about 113K. And what's great about this is that if this diamond pattern breaks to the upside, and we'll know this is on a 4-hour basis, so we'll probably know in the next day to 2 days, we'll have some resolution here. You know, if we break to the downside, we don't need to break too much lower. Be below 101K, we've broken out to the downside. Be above 104K, or we've broken up to the upside most likely. Or if it's like tomorrow, probably 103K. Really, probably 103.5K would do it by the end of today, if not by the end of tomorrow. But that would not only, the measure move would take us to 113K, maybe it takes us to 110K, however you want to interpret it. That sets off a cascade of chain reactions, right? That literally sets off a chain reaction of events that would send us to higher prices than just the measure move here, okay? If this is a diamond pattern, and I think it is, and we break out, we see 113K or 110K, that's new all-time highs, right? If we see new all-time highs, we're not stopping until at least 114K and more likely at least until 122K, okay? And if that's the case, then we're breaking out of this phase overall. And if we're breaking out of this phase overall, I think that we're going to see a continuation of this move, right? Something that would take us up like that. If we were to measure this move from, I guess, this relative low here to the relative high, not the actual high, but like the high where we started to consolidate from, I'm going to take it from there. You know, from this low to wherever that would take us, that could take us up to about 160K. Depends on how you want to interpret this. You know, some people might draw it exactly how I drew it here. Some people might draw it a little bit bigger to the upside, maybe even to the downside. I don't know. But I feel like just being the most real, something above 140K seems likely. And again, this is all in reference to breaking out of this diamond pattern, right? Because if we break out of the diamond pattern bullishly, diamond patterns are known for high velocity moves. So when we break out of it, it's going to be fast. It's going to be not that it's going to take a short amount of time to break out, though I think it will be in the next day or two that we break out up or down, whichever direction it is. But when we break out, the move will be fast. It won't be anything like what we've seen here. It will be faster. It will be very fast, very high velocity to its measure move target, which is 113K. Maybe 110K, depending on how you want to do it, right? But somewhere around that area. And while that part might be fast, you might have an initial explosion up here. That explosion sets off a chain reaction that allows us to get to targets that are basically an extension of this move, which is, again, at a minimum of 140K. And we can derive that just using our eyeballs, looking at the measure moves here. I mean, genuinely, if we took a low to a rough high of this move here, if we took a low to the high of this move there. If we took a low, not even the low, but the relative low here to the relative high of this move here, and we take all of these and we put them at the low over here. Oh wait, we're missing one. We also need this low here to this high. We take all these and we put them at the low here. We get targets that are at 171K at the highest. The smallest one's 48%. We put that over here. We get targets that are at 130K at the lowest. But here's my thing. I don't think we see 130K. Here's the reason why. We put all these percentages back where they belong. And if you notice, it's only getting bigger as the cycle goes on. It's only getting bigger as the cycle goes on, right? Depending on where you want to draw this move from, I think from this low, that might be appropriate to that high, 76%. I suppose it's getting smaller. One could argue that it's here, and in which case it's a 55% move, 76%, 55, I don't know, whatever. That was our breakout. That was our low that led to the breakout. That might be a better representation, but I flip back and forth. I don't know which way to draw this move appropriately, but I feel like that's appropriate for all intents and purposes. All I'm trying to say is likely we don't get one of these moves. Likely we get one of these moves. And even the wimpy moves at a minimum would take us to 130K. And this is all off of that 4-hour diamond pattern breaking out, right? If it breaks out, likely we are going to see the next phase of this move here. So comparing every bullish move we've had in this bull cycle so far and projecting out from there, I think is a good kind of simple way to identify that. If we're erasing 48 and 58% as possibilities, because these were beginning of the cycle small potato moves, and now we're getting to our bigger, let's call them big potato moves, whatever. That's inspired by Ivan on Tech, because he always says, he always says meat and potatoes. We're at 102K now. A 64% move would be about 160K, 166K. A 91% move would take us up to just below 200K. I don't think we're going to go to just below 200K. I don't believe we're going to stop at 160K. I think it'll be somewhere in between. I think truthfully this next move will take us to about 180K. 175, 180K. We're at 102,000 now, and it all starts with this diamond top pattern. It really does. And I very much believe we're at the base of it now. I think we will break out to the upside, and just look for that, guys. Look for that, because it's probably going to happen over the next day to two, and I suspect it could happen today. I think any price above about 103.5 thousand, so like $103,500, $103,500. Anything above that number would likely suggest that we're breaking out to the upside. But I suppose you could just look at this, draw a line of best fit there whenever we break out of this line. And remember, the way that the diamond was actually drawn, it's actually better to draw probably from this and then shave it, right? That having it out a little bit is okay. You want the line of best fit. So when we break above this line, if we were to just go up here, that'd be about 103.8K at that case. So if you want to do it yourself, look at the 1 hour, try to shave it, start at the top here, shave it down to the line of best fit. That might give you a good representation of what to expect if we were to break out to the upside, right? Where that breakout might be. So anyways, I'm hitting a dead horse over the head now. I got nothing else to say, guys. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Wait, we have one more thing to talk about. I wanted to look at the ribbon just for fun. The daily isn't giving us much, although to be fair, it does look kind of bullish right here. I have to be honest. That's not a bad look. 3-day time frame, bullish. Weekly time frame, super bullish. Monthly time frame, you can't even get close to me, bears, because you're so bullish. All right, that's it. That's all. Bye-bye.